Alright, I know yesterday was April 1st, but anything done on April 1st is seen as disingenuous. So, here we are. I have an idea to make something for every week in April. Maybe, I don't really know exactly. I guess it's kind of like a little documentary of my April. I don't know, I've never made a documentary. I guess I'll try it about myself, because if I can't do it about myself, I don't think I can do it about anything. Though, I probably could do it about something. I remember once I said that I'd make, like, the final documentary on Anton LaVey. I'm sure I'll make one, but it won't be the last on him, if I do make one on him. Yeah, I'm just kind of sitting here, waiting for things to start. Right now I'm in a car, as the seatbelt probably is indicative of. You know. What could I say? Probably just gonna film sporadically, do audio whenever it's like 1 in the morning and I don't feel like turning on the lights. I don't know. But yeah, it's kind of a fun idea I had. Kind of like Forever Dirt's vlog every day of November, the VEDN, but once every week, I guess, it comes out, probably. I'd assume that's what'll happen. I don't know. I'm just waiting, and I gotta go work on a zine that I'm doing for the Witches' Sabbath in LA this year with Shane Bugbee. It's basically a collection of texts we have, messages going back 2 years. It's kind of like the best of, and believe me, there is so much that's not in this that could have been, that there'll be another one next year, I hope. Or I might just start doing it for fun, which, you know, I've already done zines for fun, but, you know, Neoganda, however you want to say it. I say it either way, depending on what I'm talking with and stuff, so. I need coffee. I'm gonna go get coffee and start working on the zine, because literally I just have 1 page left that I need to fix up some stuff on it. It's page 7. Gotta remove something from it, and then it should be fully ready to print, which is good. I was hoping to have had this done by March 14th, but no. I got all the pages down and stuff by March 13th. all the corrections and stuff are getting done this week, and, you know, should be interesting. I know, I just saw someone in a car. Yeah, that's about it for right now. Alright, day 2 of this. I've got a notebook with me to maybe read some things for this time, I think. And then tonight, I'm gonna go on Shane Bugbee's live stream with, maybe talk to Sharon LaVey. Depends on if our timings align. Yeah, let's just find something in here to read. I have a lot written. This is a completed notebook. Oh, here we go. I have something called Humanism versus Satanism, which, you know, Satanism is kind of the ultimate humanism, but humanism itself isn't necessarily satanic, you know, so, here we go. The Oxford Dictionary defines humanism as, quote, an outlook or system of thought attaching prime importance to human rather than divine or spiritual matters. Humanist beliefs stress the potential value and goodness of human beings, emphasize common human needs, and seek solely rational ways of solving human problems. While there are the following areas of likeness, there are differences. Similarly, Satanism emphasizes common human needs and importance of the individual human being over the collective. So that's kind of a difference, but a similarity. Satanism places the individual first. Humanism only does so to a small extent. Satanism disregards the notion of potential value and goodness of human beings and views things more meritocratically in terms of value, while taking a more Nietzschean stance, beyond good and evil. After all, Satanism represents man as just another animal, sometimes better, more often worse than those that walk on all fours, who, because of his divine spiritual and intellectual development, has become the most vicious animal of all. Oh, I should read The Bottom Feeder's Frenzy. Humans aren't so solely rational, but Satanism advocates for Lex Talionis as the rational solution for some human conflicts. Humanism would beg to differ, given the stressed potential value of humans. To end things, there is an excerpt from the Satanic Bible, which I'll read later for this. Actually, I guess I won't, because I don't have it written down, and I don't have my book with me right now. But you can find it if you read it. I recommend reading it. You're not going to understand anything I say if you don't. Actually, you probably will, but, Oh, then I got this really interesting diagram I drew of things and how they correlate through my interests in them. Let me just pull it up. I don't know how much that stuff makes sense. It's not focusing on it. At the top there's the Psychic Bible, which kind of is a correlation of all those. Kind of all starts with the Satanic Bible, and might is right, though. I don't know. It was kind of an interesting thing to try doing, just mapping it out. But I don't think that any sort of map will do it justice. Then, what else? Oh, I have something written on, kind of similar, but not at the same time. Oh, I'm not gonna read that. It's 4 pages long. 4 or 5 pages. I don't know. I have a lot of things. I spent hours on this. Oh, I wrote something on the similarities between Christianity and communism here. Not the first time I've done that. I guess I'll read it. I'm going to start. For as anti-religious communism claims to be, it's pretty Christian in its ideology. Their ideals of altruism are nearly identical. Just look at such scriptures like Luke 12:33-34, Matthew 19:21, among others. Like the Jesuits, communists believe in the distribution of wealth equally, though under certain occupations must be minimally working. As a type of socialism, communism negates private profit that goes to the individual who earned it, instead going to everyone to even it out. It's kind of, that doesn't make sense. You should reap what you sow. But it's quite ludicrous under a scrutinizing lens. Ayn Rand said, men have been taught that their first concern is to relieve the suffering of others. To make that the highest virtue is to make suffering the most important part of life. The man must wish to see others suffer in order that he may be virtuous. Such is the nature of altruism. Such is proven time and time. This is no longer the quote. Such is proven time and time again in these societies based on ideologies of Christ and communism. Just look at what Puritanism led to. Protestantism in the Vatican. Look what that's done. Look what they've done. And look at the bullet-ridden corpses of East Berlin, of those who attempted to escape communism and its starving regimes. And, that's not to say I don't think communism couldn't work. I'm sure it could under the right circumstances, but given human nature, I don't think it would. It might. I don't know. I'm open to the possibility, but just, reading through history, I don't think it would. But I'm open to the contrary. Then right here, I've got a massive thing that I was going to do. Basically, I was going to do a giant deep dive and completely explain the album Hollywood by Marilyn Manson. I got like 15 pages in, and I I don't know, I kind of lost interest in doing it, and it's like, it's just so much. Like, I know what it is and what I'm doing with it, but it's just so much work that it's hard to do. But I plan on coming back to it eventually, but just not yet. I mean, just here's one of the pages from it. It's got I retroactively write references and stuff, so that's what the stuff at the top is. There you go. That is just pure writing on Hollywood. What does this page say? Okay. Oh, yeah, I'll just read this page, these 2 pages. No, this is chapter 2 that starts it. I'll just read the first bit. Chapter 2, Factoring in Celebritarianism. Celebritarianism is the name of a philosophical and artistic movement. The term was coined by Manson in this era, but the concept has been around since the beginning of the band. The name Marilyn Manson itself was and is the concept of worshipping death as society does. This concept in art movement was characterized by what was called the Celebritarian Corporation. In fact, Hollywood was supposed to go more in depth to this system in a book of the same name, but only chapter 10 was ever released and has ever seen the light of day. And the chapter itself is kind of weird, and I'm not going to read it because it's just weird without any other context to it. But I think that the celebritarianism description that can be found on the Manson Wiki website does it justice. Also, the Knockbrat site really does a good job. Nick Kushner was great at that stuff, but shame he died. I would have loved to talk to him. Let's see, what else do I have? Oh, I have something I wrote about Jordan Peterson. People hate on Jordan Peterson because he's weird and does have some false claims. However, he's quite a smart man with some interesting ideas. But he also has books which tell people basic, well-known information, though they work for people. Obviously, like anyone of such areas of media, gets a cult following who have little thoughts for themselves. It's no different than the diehard Nietzscheans, or as a similar modern example, the ones who uphold ContraPoints as a patron of what truth is. And that's not to hate on Nietzsche, Peterson, or ContraPoints. I like all 3 of them. You know, I disagree with all 3 of them on things. I agree with them on all things. I don't think they're inherently stupid just because they have far out ideas, and I don't think that Jordan Peterson being weird necessarily discredits him and his entire body of work. You know, there are good ideas to find within him. You know, like I really like his thing about the Ted Bundy effect, I think he calls it. You know, I think that stuff's interesting. I don't think that they're necessarily bad, and I think it's more black and white thinking that kind of does it. Oh, I have something on thought crime here. Thought crime is the way of politics. Don't agree with the principle of a political group. Heresy. Don't like how something is gone about. Heresy. For heresies, one is ousted and called a traitor. It might not be a horrific torture awaiting you like Room 101 in 1984 to reprogram you, but the very disdain of those you agree with most, everything else. Puritanism never dies, and ignorance is truly kind of strength in this area, you know. And when everyone's a Puritan, no one is. That's the nature of witch hunts that lead to purges. In modern discourse, these purges are cancellation or deplatforming of those you dislike for their supposed impurity. If it is impure, good, you're probably doing something correct, you know. Iconoclasts are necessary for the world to exist. It's such a shame that they're so few and far between, but it's also kind of a good thing, you know. You know, it's like, you know, Aleister Crowley once said that every man and woman is a star. That may be true, but the fact of the matter is, stars are, despite what's the right word? their astounding number, they are few and far between, and stars also are different in size and power and gravitational pull. You know, they go off of different scales. You know, same way people do. Some are better, some are worse. You know. Anyway, I think that's all I'm gonna say for now on this. So, wow, this has been going for 12 minutes. Yeah, I think I'm done for now. Alright, gonna do some more of this. It's been like half an hour. Yeah, I was reading from the notebook earlier, and I don't know, I think it's kind of interesting to look back and read on those things. There's so much in there. I have so many notebooks just full of stuff. Here's the one I'm working on now. I just finished something on the concept of writing a sequel to Might Is Right, because I have it right here. It says on the last page of the book something interesting about it. Nope, I went too far. It says right here, end of book 1. P.S. Book 2 will be issued when circumstances demand it. And I'm kind of like, you know, I said a while ago that give me 10 years. I think this was either in DMs with Shane or I think on Twitter maybe. I'm not sure. But we were like, well, because I know he was gonna do a sequel to it with Doug, but Doug, I guess, kind of took the ideas in a different way and made them for the Satanic Temple, you know, the compassion and empathy stuff. Which, if you look at their stuff, it's not even the ideas they were proposing for the Might Is Right sequel. It's just ripped off of Unitarian Universalism. I don't know. Thought I saw someone in a car I knew. You know, I just kind of decided, you know, give me 10 years and I'll do it, but I kind of just started laying out the idea for it, and I think it's kind of interesting. So I'll just read what I wrote. It kind of explains something I already did. At the end of his infernal diatribe, Might Is Right, Redbeard writes that it is simply book 1 and that a second volume would be written and released when the times called for it. I would argue that times do call for such. However, it would have to encompass and take into account much more. It would be a lot thicker in volume. And I mean, this right here, the authoritative edition, it's thick, but I mean, it's also got a very big part of that thickness is owed to just all the, like, okay, so this is the actual book part of it right here, and then this is all the annotations and references with some other stuff like select bibliography, just, and I mean, it's also longer because in the actual pages they put the footnotes in, and it can go like an entire page sometimes. Like, here we go, right here. That is all footnotes and references. Anyway, I plan to write that, and I plan to write what I can for it, and I have written quite a bit that I think could go in there. You know, I can only do so much though. You know, I do have a theory that the original was not simply by Arthur Desmond. I think Jack London assisted on it, though it's not provable that Jack London was a part of it. Most sources say it was Desmond, but I think that it was a collaborative effort between the two. And then there is also a guy that people theorize named Upton Sinclair that helped with it. And I think that it's very possible, but I don't know enough about Upton Sinclair, and it is a pseudonym after all, so we might not know, though it does point that Desmond probably wrote it based on his other, poetry and works, like Rival Caesars. But I think it's a high possibility. But, luckily, I think many people have created the perfect groundwork along with the original to lay out a second volume. I think Charles Manson, Ayn Rand, Mark Fisher, Carl Sagan, Ted Kaczynski, and a number of others, that have kind of helped lay out the base for it. And the creation of a second volume would require so much insight from a multitude of people, philosophers, scientists, the everyday person, iconoclasts of any denomination. Give me 10 years, I'll write it, or help make it. Yeah, that's my idea for it. And as much as a harsh truth might as right is, and how hard it is to argue with, there are things in there that have been disproven about, like race and genders, and which gender is dominant. It does refer to woman as 2/3 womb and stuff. Not necessarily true, from what I can tell. Maybe it is true, I don't know. I guess if you consider that the natural instinct is to procreate, I don't know. I think maybe the way it characterizes it wasn't, maybe that's not what it intended, I don't know. But, I think that it's a good starting point. I've definitely got things that could go in there. I could put in the writing. Like, I'm just reading through this as well, trying to find something. Oh, I have another thing of, communism and Christianity in here. Cool. I've written a lot. I repeat myself and expand myself on these topics. Oh, here's one that I like. It's on aesthetics. Aesthetics are a cool thing. Aesthetics are powerful. People do judge books based on the aesthetic merit of their cover. Aesthetics are everything in the human world, if you can see. That's why the Third Reich was so powerful. Just look at their aesthetic. You can't beat it. They were lesser magicians. It's unreal how much aesthetic power that they had. Yeah. It's interesting how just aesthetically pleasing totalitarian regimes are on the looking at them. Like the fascists in Italy and the Soviets, they have aesthetics that are just really attractive, and it's understandable that they were so drawn into with just the aesthetic of it, if not the ideologies, which I guess makes sense for the time. I guess they made sense for the time being. Oh, I have something on social standards in here, but I'll read that later. It kind of goes back to the thing I was talking about earlier in the thing I did earlier, where I was talking about what's it called? Puritanism and the Puritanism and witch hunt stuff. I think that kind of goes along with it, because I talk about that sort of stuff. Yeah, I think I'm done for this 9-minute bit. I'm liking these, and yeah. Alright, it's day 3 of this. I'm in a Walmart parking lot right now. Yeah, I got 2 new books. Actually, I got 3, but one of them's not with me right now. I got this one, The Romantic Manifesto by Ayn Rand. Then I got essays. I got essays on fascism by. It says by Mussolini, but it's actually a collection of them by people like Mussolini's essays are in here, but it's also things by Mosley and others. You know, really interesting stuff. Yeah. That's all for now. Alright, so here we are, and another one of these. I got some books and stuff recently, so I just figured why not show them off. I've kind of read some of them already. So I figured, alright, these are the ones I got off of at Barnes & Noble. I got Man and His Symbols by Carl Jung, and I know I showed these yesterday, but I figured why not show them again. There's one over there. Let me go grab it real quick. Alright, I grabbed it. It's Essays on Fascism. It's by a number of different fascists. I'm already like halfway through it. It's very interesting to read about. Then I got The Romantic Manifesto by Ayn Rand. I read a chapter of it already. It's pretty neat. Okay, then these ones I got as a birthday gift from Damien Mays of Reno Satanic. He sent me a whole box of goodies and stuff. Actually, it's right here. He sent me a birthday card, which was very cool. Then he sent me some Reno Satanic merch. He sent me some Reno Satanic merch like this. And this. Oh, there's a fortune on the back of this. I just realized that. And he sent me a little pen too, which, thank you. Oh, then there's this on the back of it. It's pretty cool. Damien, if you're watching this, thank you very much for that stuff. Then he also got me some books. He got me The Last Testament of Anton Szandor LaVey by Boyd Rice. I'm already over halfway through it. It's very, very interesting. There's a whole section in here about Ed Gein and how Anton met him and stuff. And oh, there's a whole thing on Jane Mansfield, like massive section on her. It's very cool. Then he also got me this, which is an interesting interview with LaVey from the 70s. I'm gonna use this to edit an article I wrote called Satanism versus Humanism. Then he got me this very interesting little book that I've already read. It's called The Satanic Quran. It's an interesting thing because basically it's like, so the Black Mass is an inversion of an inversion that the Catholic Church created, and Satanism uses Black Mass as a way to rid one of all prior, more or less Christian dogma and stuff, but there's nothing for people from a Muslim background, so this kind of gives that the version of a Black Mass for that equivalent called this is what it's called. I don't know how to pronounce that. It's an interesting book. It's an interesting book. It's an interesting little thing. Yeah, those are the books I got. I thought that it was kind of cool. What else? I've got some other books and stuff, but they're not... Yeah, I guess I'll show this one off. It's pretty interesting of itself. Fascism in Britain. I'm a bit way through the first chapter. It's an interesting book. Then over here is not simply, I have the Friday the 13th movies. Then here we have a very, very, very informative one called The Psychology of Totalitarianism by Matthias Desmond, which I believe is the modern sequel to the book Propaganda by Edward Bernays. Let me go grab that one. Hold on.